Now, I want to move on to the COP29 climate change conference, which was a farce from the very beginning because, of course, the Taliban rocked up. It really tells you everything you need to know about the legitimacy of this event. But look, it further descended into a spectacle when an Australian delegate took it upon themselves to perform a welcome to country.
My name is Claire Anderson and I'm the Group Director of Sustainability Performance at Worley. And I'm very delighted to be here today. And to start, I might, whilst we're not on Australian lands, I'd still like to start with acknowledging the traditional owners of Australia and the Torres Strait Islands and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging.
I mean, Tanya, not only do we get welcome to country here, but now you get welcome to country in countries that you don't even live in.
That's right. Look, I've got to say, we're seeing more and more of these public servants and activists representing Australia at these conferences. They're clearly conditioned to say these acknowledgements. There's no thought process behind it, no common sense evaluation on whether they're actually standing on Australian soil. And in this case, of course, they're not. I can't imagine what the people there must have been thinking in Azerbaijan, which in itself is a very old country. If you look at the history of, they've got their own, Indigenous people there. I find that odd. Look, it just shows Australia that we're becoming a basket case of a country. We're showing ourselves to be more foolish than even Canada, on the international stage. I cannot believe that we're sending people, and I'm sure the taxpayers has foot the bill. I understand there was even a kiosk there that was worth $1 million where Australia was showcasing what it's doing in climate change and so forth.
It's just a farce. It's a farce from the start.
The whole thing, at least it exposes how absurd this conference is, but also how absurd people are becoming in Australia, that they don't even understand what the acknowledgement actually means.
Correct.
What was the original purpose.
Well, I wonder if the Taliban enjoyed the welcome to country, David, perhaps. I mean, what does it say about COP29 when these sorts of things occur?
Well, stick to your knitting. This was about the environment. This was about energy. This was about the future of providing sustainable electricity and power to our communities. And if the left want to complain about Donald Trump, case one. Case in point. These people have pushed the working man and woman in Australia to vote for the right, to vote for Pauline Hanson, to vote for the Shooters Party, to vote for a whole lot of, not just the Conservative side, but it's even other non-aligned Conservative movements, because like Donald Trump. Now, I mean, for me, it doesn't, Donald Trump, I'm with the John Howard view of the world. I wouldn't have voted for him because of what he said about prisoners of war and John McCain. But I see the reason why working people in America voted for him was because of this. Because they got told that, your land isn't your land. And they got told that, if you don't think this way, well, you're wrong. And if you don't believe the same as we believe, well, then, you're going to hell. And I mean, they're just not, they're not going to be pushed into a corner. And that's exactly what's happened.
Absolutely. This is why people voted for Donald Trump, because they're sick of the palaver every day, the carry on every day. Now, look, it's taken the New South Wales Premier Chris Minns days to intervene in a major union train shutdown, which would have seen trains not running at all this weekend. Tanya, we had businesses that were closing. They said we can't open. You had people not being able to go to work. You had people not making restaurant bookings, not planning to go out. Why have the unions got Chris Minns over a barrel on this one?
Well, this one's a self-inflicted injury for the Labor Party, really, because, the unions had industrial action probably every weekend now. All of a sudden, Joe Halen has decided to say, well, no, we're going to shut down the whole weekend and that's that. Instead, they could have gone to the Fair Work Commission. They actually could have taken some action about it. There are legal means that Minns could have dealt with this. Look, yes, the RTBU donate money, undoubtedly, to the Labor Party. I'm not sure if that's what the real issue here is. I think you've got a very inexperienced minister here, a very inexperienced government as well, that thought that they could sort of use people within the party. I know that Bob Namber, the former National RBTU secretary who's in the upper house with me, was sent out during the day on Thursday to negotiate. They gave him a pair. They were using everybody they could to help them. In the end, look, David, of all people, would know when you're a transport minister, you've got to knuckle down and have those meetings and have those discussions. And in fact, can I credit David? He was, I think, Toby Warman, the RTBU secretary, said it was a lot easier to deal with you than Joe Halen, because at least you had your door open.
The union really damaged my credibility this week when they said that they preferred to deal with me. Listen, can I say, Toby, I know Toby reasonably well. I spoke to him weekly throughout the year leading up to the election. He's a reasonable person. I liked working with him. I enjoyed his company. I'm really disappointed with him on this matter. I'm not going to be standing here as the ex-minister critical of my successor. I think Joe is doing he's under extreme pressure, and I agree with you, Tanya. This should have gone straight to the commission, but I suspect Joe didn't want to. But Joe Halen did not want to be the first Labor minister to refer her own party to the court.
It's admission of failure.
And this is always the case, and people have said to me all week, we voted Labor because we thought these problems wouldn't occur. And then of course the union says, well, you know, I don't like dealing with the minister, and it's going to be, I mean, I have no doubt it's going to come back in 2 weeks' time. I wish Toby would see sense and start. I do believe that the government should have taken it to the Fair Work Commission, but I also have the view, as I would have said to them, strike.
Well, I mean, I just think it's ridiculous. The train's being shut down for a whole weekend. You can't plan your life.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's ridiculous.
Everybody had cancelled their activities anyway. Everybody had cancelled most of the. Paul Nicolaou said that. Everybody had cancelled most of the activities anyway.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you know, as the word terrorism was unfortunately used a few times, including by me, you don't negotiate with terrorists.
Yeah.
If these guys are going to if the government had said it is completely inappropriate and unjustly for us to run a 24-hour service, so we're not going to run a 24-hour service, and then what? Last night they said we're going to have to run a 24-hour service.
That's the problem there, David. They won't clear themselves.
No, very, very strange. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. David Elliott, Tanya Mihaly, great to have you both on. Thank you so much for joining me on the show this evening.